Why is the first mitzvah that Hashem commands Bnei Israel HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem, the mitzvah of sanctifying the new month? Why not something more fundamental like keeping Shabbat, V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, belief in Hashem? Well, the mitzvah of Kiddush HaChodesh is the commandment to establish the new month. In the days of the Sanhedrin, witnesses would come before the Beit Din and testify that they had seen the new moon. Based on their testimony, the Beit Din would determine whether or not the new month should be declared. This declaration would determine not only when Rosh Hodesh was, but also when the holidays would be observed. The Talmud Yerushalmi describes the scene. If the earthly court declares, today is Rosh Hashanah, then in the heavenly court above, Hashem calls out to the angels, erect the podium, call the prosecuting attorneys, call the defense attorneys, my children have declared that today is Rosh Hashanah. If the earthly court decides to delay Rosh Hashanah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu commands the angels, remove the podium, remove the prosecuting attorneys, remove the defense attorneys. My children have decided to postpone it for a day. We see here that the underlying message of this mitzvah is that we have a partnership with Hashem in determining when it is Rosh Hashanah. While Hashem directs the actual moon through its cycles, He commands us to take control of our time. The Jewish people have an active role in determining time, which in turn sets all of our holidays. Rav Soloveitchik suggests that what separates a slave from a free person is their control over time. Time awareness is the singular faculty of the free man who can use or abuse it. To a slave, it is a curse or a matter of indifference. It is not an instrument which he can harness to his purposes. The free man wants time to move slowly because presumably it is being employed for his purposes. As Bnei Israel are leaving Mitzrayim and being released from slavery to freedom, Hashem is preparing them for this freedom by teaching them to take responsibility for their time and to use their time wisely. Rav Mirsky uses this point to explain a curious passage in the Haggadah regarding the mitzvah of Sipur Yetziat Mitzrayim. The Haggadah asks, Yachol me Rosh Chodesh? One might have thought that one could fulfill the mitzvah from Rosh Chodesh. This is precisely because this was the true beginning of Geula. Once Bnei Israel have control over their time, their transition from Avdut to Chevut, from slavery to freedom, had truly begun. I think our question is similar, almost a corollary question, and ties in nicely with the first Rashi on the Torah. There he quotes the question from the Medrash as to why the Torah didn't start with our first mitzvah of HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem. Rabbi Yitzchak said, the Torah should have opened with the pasuk, HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem Rosh Chodeshim, which is the first commandment given to Bnei Israel. What is the reason, then, that it begins with the account of creation? Because the pasuk says in Tehillim, He declared to His people the strength of His works in order that He might give them the heritage of the nations. For should the nations of the world say to Israel, you are robbers, you took by force the land of the 7 nations of Canaan, Israel can reply to them, all of the earth belongs to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He created it and gave it to whom He pleased. When He willed it, He gave it to them. And when He willed it, He took it from them and gave it to us. The lesson here is that history and the ways of the world are in Hashem's hands. These two questions and their answers flow together to deliver a message of partnership between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the Jewish people. The Torah began with Bereshit to teach us that all is in Hashem's control. And then the first mitzvah of the Torah, HaChodesh Hazeh, reminds us that we need to not simply flow through history as slaves to time, but we must take an active role in shaping and determining our future. For further answers to this question, you can see Rabbi Shmuel Golden's essay for Parshat Bo in his Sefer Unlocking the Torah Text. Chodesh Tov.